Good morning. Welcome to the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, February 17th, 2025. I am calling the meeting to order. The first item of business is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Jeff has moved and Scott has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3 is discussion and possible action to approve claims dated February 17th, 2025 in the amount of $442,979.52.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Got a motion by Jeff and a second by Kurt. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item 4, discussion and possible action to approve a Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau, LE Highway Safety Grant application in the amount of $59,011.50 with Chief Deputy Jeff Mullen. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. We're asking for board's approval on another one-year grant with GTSB, Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. It will pay for 850 hours of overtime, two new radar units, 3 new PBTs, and 1 new LiDAR.
I'd move to approve.
Got a motion by Danny,
I'll second.
second by Jeff. Any discussion? Sounds like a good deal. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. Next up, items with Muscatine County Historic Preservation Commissioner, Bill Kellner. Item A is discussion and possible action authorizing the chair to sign a certified local government grant agreement in the amount of $36,508, $21,096 of which is a grant award with $5,000 cash match provided by the City of West Liberty and $10,412 in-kind match requirements for the survey of North Calhoun Street, West Liberty, Iowa. Morning, Bill.
Good morning, gentlemen. I was here several months ago and asked for competition with the State and Cultural Affairs for a grant for West Liberty. At the time, they told me in Des Moines it was going to be tough because there was a lot of people who wanted money. Well, we were successful. The grant was awarded, and now it's time to sign a contract. City of West Liberty will provide $5,000 match when the contract, when we get an RFP with a consultant and it's approved by back to you, then they'll send you $5,000. So I needed approval, or Kayla needs approval to have signature to send back, and then we'll have an RFP prepared and send out to consultants, 3 consultants for competition.
Move the approval.
Jeff has moved approval.
I'll second.
Kurt has seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Well, thank you. Just a couple of other things. As you heard from the annual report from Lynn Pruitt a couple weeks ago, you know, we've moved along pretty well. You know, schools and churches, we got signage at 129 places in the county, which look great. I actually, as I drove down here, I noticed on 22 where one of the signs is on 22, and people have noticed them all over the county and have mentioned that. So tomorrow at our meeting, we'll be talking about signage at transportation sites. It's interesting, you know, we have 129 locations, historic churches. We got about 125 in the historic areas of transportation, whether it's stagecoach or railroads or bridges or whatever. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. It's interesting, you figure that in the county, that's about 250 historic locations. We'll have a report tomorrow from Fruits and Vegetable Study, and there'll be several more on the island in the county. So that'll be great. And of course, soon we'll know more about the Freedom Trail and the Underground Railroad, which we've cooperated with the City of Muscatine on. So that's going well. We have a lot to be proud of in Muscatine County. When you just think about the movement maybe in the last 5 years of the historic locations found. So that's kind of an update on where we're at.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you,
Bill,
sir.
Sounds like you're doing great work.
Well, a week from the day it'll be 46 degrees when we come back.
I love write that down, Bill.
Write that down, okay?
Just try and get that organized for you.
Appreciate your optimism.
Moving right along to item number 6. 6A is items with Planning and Zoning Administrator Eric Furness. A is discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 02-17-2501, which is approval of the combined preliminary and final plat of the France Cedar Valley subdivision.
French Cedar Valley subdivision is a one-lot agricultural subdivision that was required because there had been a previous split in that quarter section. Essentially, it's 1.47 acres of non-tillable land on the corner of a larger acreage of farmland. Really, it's a result of a land swap between a couple neighboring farmers. The farmer to the south of this has installed a long driveway back through his property, some of his ag buildings, and then the farmer that actually owns this, what will be lot 1, has some hog buildings further to the east. They're doing some trading. Well, he can use the farmer to the south's lane to get back to his hog buildings without having to construct another one. This farmer's picking up this piece of non-tillable corner to be able to build some more ag buildings on. Pretty simple stuff. It's been recommended for approval unanimously by the zoning commission. My recommendation that you approve as well.
I'll move the approval.
Jeff has moved. Second, this is a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
All ayes, the action is approved. Item 6B is discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 02-17-2502, granting an extension to record the approved replat of lots 1 and 2 of Salvatore subdivision and parcel J. I'm recusing myself from this. This is something I filed on behalf of my client, so I will not be voting for it, and if it passes, Danny will be signing off as vice chair.
Yeah, so this is just a plat extension request. We've granted one on this already. I think there was some issues that the parties involved found out about as they were trying to close out and get things recorded, and so they filed the necessary paperwork to grant an extension. No changes or anything applied. It's just simply to accommodate some extra time for the legal work that need to be done on the back end. So.
And just to explain, this is over by the Whispering Pines church building, and the family that has a home next door, they basically just had to swap a little bit of land so their driveways went across their own land.
And I think the complicator on this, this is an issue I was just made aware of when I was talking with the auditor's office and the assessor's office as it relates to splits. Wherever all the taxes for all parcels are involved must be paid up in full through the point. And it seems to me on this where you're talking a very minor amount of land that you're gonna hold, cause now our staffs can't process it until March payments. And then you create a bottleneck in the process and slows it down. I think this is something we probably should look at, and I don't know who the best people to talk about that are, but it seems to me like maybe there's some legislation that needs to be cleaned up on how you deal with these kinds of situations. I get the complication, cause you got multiple tax years and all that kind of stuff going on.
And I wasn't gonna ask the homeowners to pay, thousands of dollars of taxes months early, just so we could get this cleaned up. So we let it wait, and now that it's tax time is rolling around, we're gonna hope to get it moving.
And I think the bigger issue is it puts the auditor's office and the assessor's office who have to put notices out, it causes a delay, so you have all these transactions sitting, waiting, and then we have timelines we have to meet. So, you could see, and even if taxes on parcels aren't paid timely, that could run into it. So I see that as kind of a deadly embrace there. I don't know, it seems to me like there's some logic that could put into that and make it better, but I would anyway, do you have a motion on that?
I'll let Danny run this. I don't think we have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. This will be a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I
I'll vote
abstain.
aye.
I abstain, yep.
Nathan abstains. I vote aye.
I vote aye.
Motion passes.
All right, items, number 7 is items with county engineer Brian Orszowski. A is discussion and possible action to award a bid for some numbers and a microsurfacing along portions of North Mulberry Road X44, 155th Street X54, 54, F70, and 120th Street F65.
Good morning. Yes, this was a lighting for a maintenance project on North Mulberry, 155th and 120th Street. It's for microsurfacing. We let this in our office last week. We were happy with the numbers that we received. So I would recommend going with the low bid there. of Asphalt Surface Technologies Corporation.
These are names I'm not familiar with. I don't think I've seen them before, Brian.
Microsurfacing brings in some outside names. The Iowa contractors, there's not too many of them that do it. We did one, I believe it was the summer of '22. That was Fort Dodge Asphalt. That's about the only player in the state of Iowa that does it. They did not bid this go around. So we've done a couple of roads with this. The state has been really big on doing microsurfacing lately. They did Highway 6 the same year that we did F70 and G28. So that was probably I think it was the summer '22. And then this past summer they did Highway 70. So it's an interesting process, but it's like many things that we do with an asphalt road. It's to extend the life of the pavement. So it's somewhat of a.
So basically, they grind back not all of it, but part
They
of it.
won't grind anything on these. They'll just they mix up a somewhat of a slurry. It's about a 3/8 aggregate that they mix up with cement, multiple different kinds of oil. It's quite the concoction. Then they put it down. They screed it off. It goes on about 3/8 to a ½ inch thick, and they will do that twice. It'll be a double course. And it's meant to fill in the cracks. The biggest thing with asphalt is as cracks form, it allows moisture to get underneath the pavement, get into the pavement, and that's the biggest killer of your pavement. So this is somewhat of a Band-Aid. I mean,
Kind of like a hybrid chip seal. almost.
It's kind of the name of the game when it comes to using asphalt for paving roads. Asphalt just leads to maintenance. And you gotta take care of it if you want it to last a long time.
What other roads have we done? But in the past.
So we did G28 everywhere where it's pink. G28, and then we also did F70. This will not be the same stuff. We did quite a bit of research. This will be using a lesser aggregate that's sourced locally. That pink aggregate came from out west. That's a type of granite. It's very hard. It's very durable, but it just did not seem to warrant the extra cost.
Okay.
Do we
So
have a
I'd
motion?
move the approval to accept the low bid.
All right, Jeff has moved.
I'll second.
Kurt has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the bid from Asphalt Surface Technologies Corporation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
That's all I had. Thank you. We'll get contract documents sent out on that.
Take care of that voice.
Just need to talk less, I guess. It's making me a better listener. So, thank
I've
you.
been told that many times. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the February 10th, 2025 regular meeting. Was there a
Second.
motion and a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Item 9, correspondence. Scott, what you got?
I have nothing to note.
Okay. Jeff?
All I had was, I had a couple of things. I had, I think we all got the information from Ryan Schmidt about the HOA. Just make a note that the county typically doesn't have any information on HOAs or who the current presidents and vice presidents are. I also attended a GMCCI advocacy meeting and a pattern book. The city of Muscatine, so for people that at home may not know, the city of Muscatine to attempt to facilitate development on some of the vacated lots inside the city of Muscatine. They've hired an architecture firm to create what they're calling a pattern book, which would be plans and designs for homes that would meet all code requirements on these lots, and they're generally 30 feet wide by 140 feet long, so they're very narrow, and you get into setback issues and things like that. So the city of Muscatine is running that program now, they're working on it, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes. They have a bunch of lots in the city of Muscatine, inside the city, that are vacant, gotten back from taxes or various reasons. We see that occasionally when we do tax sales, so it'd be good to get those back on the tax rolls. That was it for me.
Other than that email that Jeff mentioned, I did not have anything to note.
Same here.
had the same email, and also wanted to bring up that, on March 1st, the Muscatine County Fair is having their weekend for the fair fundraiser, at the fairgrounds. It starts at 6 o'clock with entertainment at 7:30. Tickets are $30, and, Jennifer in the recorder's office is selling, and I have some also, so.
How about committees?
Yeah, I had none.
I didn't have any meat, but just some information. Looks like with the grant writing, we're getting a grant application together from Bi-State for the Muscatine Mad Creek Trail. Also, there is a Veterans Networking Night this Thursday, I believe, the 20th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Brew downtown, and it's for I'm trying to find the email. But here it is. Basically, veterans looking for employment, veterans looking to network. Employers are all invited. So 5:30 to 8:30 at the Brew Thursday evening. Jeff?
On Tuesday, the 11th, they had the EMA and E911 Service Board EMA Commission to go over our public hearing for our budgets. And also on 2/11, we had the conference board, which I believe we were all at.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good call.
Okay, that was
So
it.
long ago.
And all I had was the conference
Yeah.
board.
All right. Very good. Next up, item 11, items with the administration office. First is a discussion and possible action to approve the following actions related to staffing in the planning and zoning environmental office. We got Nancy and to basically reevaluate the grading of some folks in that office, and we have possibilities here for 3, I believe, different positions. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything on it.
Well, I'd like to speak on it. Are you gonna read number 1 off before we do?
Oh, sure, yeah. The first one is to approve a revised class specification and grade assignment for planning and zoning administrator position to become a county development director, effective the 22nd of February, and that would be a transition from grade 17 to grade 18. Yeah, we'll talk about them one by one if you'd like.
Yeah. So I think there's some, for me, there's some different pieces that play into all this that I wanna go over that, I think are pertinent to this particular item. We had the salary study done, and I'm referring to our administrator as start with. On that administrator position, you know, when she redid the grades, part of that's already been implemented last July, and then the next part this July, that's gonna put another 5% increase on her role. And then I didn't hear about I've been on the board for a couple years, and up till 3 or 4 weeks ago, I wasn't even aware that we were considering or had been approved for a new HR person. So I just found out about that 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that process was always going. It sounded like you guys had approved that
Long ago, yeah.
long ago. I personally, I think something like that's waited so long, and then you're ready to move forward to it, it probably, to me, should have came back to the board to say, hey, you guys approved this 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we're ready to move forward, because I was in the dark on it, and I didn't know where I stood, and I had to really get my head wrapped around it. So, and then comes Eric's, so we're gonna take the HR responsibilities away from Nancy that does those roles. And now comes Eric's position, that we're gonna change Eric's position, and general services have been under Nancy, and I'm assuming capital projects have been under Nancy. If I'm wrong there, you can speak up. So between Nancy's 2 steps on her role, we're gonna give her an 8-9% raise on the salary study, which is significant, taking her to almost $155,000. And then we're gonna hire an HR person on top of that that's gonna be, I don't know, in the ballpark of $80,000. And then we wanna give Eric a raise for $12,000. I'm not on board with all these things happening until Nancy's ready to retire, because we're gonna take a lot of responsibility from Nancy, HR, general services, capital projects, and give her a 10% raise, taking her to $154,000, and then giving Eric a 12% raise if we approve this. And then we're gonna hire a new $80,000 HR person. I'm not comfortable with all those things happen. when Nancy's ready to retire. And then, to me, that'd be the appropriate time for an HR person, that'd be the appropriate time to reallocate, her responsibilities to Eric and split this up. So that's where I stand on it, you know, I'm just not comfortable with all these things happening at the same time in the manner they're happening.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's accurate that Nancy's in charge of general services. I mean, and, just to address that point.
Who is then?
Well-
If Nancy hasn't always been overseeing Oscar and his crew, who's oversees it then?
Eric, you wanna speak
So
to that?
in the past, general services has always reported to some other department at a department head level. Going back a few years, they were under the purview of the auditor's office, and then Sherry Seawright was directly in charge of overseeing general services through administration. And then most recently, it's kind of been a combination, I think, financially, the feedback between Oscar and financially, it's been Kayla, but certainly Nancy has been the supervisor, because Kayla reports to Nancy.
So it is Nancy.
It is currently, it's been Nancy. Now,
Okay.
capital projects, yes, there's administration level oversight on capital projects. I work very closely with Kayla, tracking change orders, the budget, the contract, making sure pay apps have double review when pay apps are submitted. But as far as the day-to-day management, since the jail expansion project like 3 years ago, my office has been the ones that have done all the owner's rep for project management duties, meeting with contractors, now Jim's involved in contract workups. There's multiple areas of the county when we talk of capital, but once a project gets going, it's been my office that's been doing those, owner's rep duties, where we're on site multiple times a week. We're the first ones to get called when there's potential issue on change orders, working with, contacting the architect when necessary, overseeing the changes, diagnosing issues as they come up. That's been solely within our office since we kind of started this unofficially, 3 or 4 years ago. And, a few weeks ago, I think the board did take action, but they made it clear for my office to go ahead and plan on capital projects staying with our office. They expressed that that they've been pleased with how that's worked. The whole general supervision of general services, that's something kind of new that, I've just unofficially stepped in.